Hey everyone, you know that feeling. When your English grammar is on point, but you still feel kind of held back, like you're not really connecting the way you want to.
Yeah, I get it.
Today we're doing a deep dive into pronunciation. Because honestly, pronunciation is so key, right? To unlocking that next level of fluency. I mean,
Hmm.
and confidence too when you're speaking English.
It's true. Pronunciation often gets overlooked, but honestly, it's like the foundation, wouldn't you say? For clear and confident communication,
Yeah, for sure.
it really can make a huge difference in how people see you and how easily they understand what you're saying.
Exactly. It's like having amazing dance moves.
Uh-huh.
But then you trip over your own feet. You've got the skill, but something's off.
Yeah,
So in this deep dive, we're going to break down those pronunciation moves
I like that.
so you can like navigate those tricky English sounds with like grace and ease. We'll
Totally.
explore everything from those subtle vowel sounds, the ones that trip everyone up,
Yeah, yeah.
to the secrets of pridim and flow
Right.
that make native speakers sound so smooth.
Absolutely. And for this deep dive, we've got some really interesting sources to work with.
Oh, cool.
Articles, research papers,
Wow.
all kinds of goodies that go way beyond just the basics.
Love that. Okay, so where do we even start with something as complex as pronunciation? Our sources keep mentioning these things called phone names.
Right.
What are those exactly?
So phonemes are basically like the smallest units of sound
Okay,
that actually like change meaning in a language. Think of them as like the building blocks of words.
okay, got it.
You change one phoneme and the whole meaning changes. It's kind of like those Blaine teasers where you change one letter
Right.
to make a new word.
I see, I see.
So like bat and pat.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just changing that first sound is
Right.
it a totally different word.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Even a tiny little change in a phone
Uh-huh.
can like totally shift the meaning.
Wow.
And, speaking of subtle changes, we should talk about vowels.
Okay. They can be super tricky, especially because in English there are more vowel sounds
Right?
than vowel letters.
That actually explains a lot. I've always wondered why some vowel sounds feel so elusive.
Hmm.
Like, why does the A sound different in, like, cat, father, and about?
It all depends on where your tongue is in your mouth.
Oh, interesting.
Tongue height, tongue advancement, how rounded your lips are.
Okay.
All these things kind of play a part in shaping that vowel sound.
Okay.
And one vowel sound that tends to, trip up non-native speakers
Yeah.
is the schwa.
The schwa.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of intimidating.
No, not at all.
Yeah, good.
It's actually the laziest vowel sound
Oh, really?
in English. And you use it all the time without even realizing it.
Interesting.
It's like the sound in words like about
Okay.
sofa or the second O in doctor.
Oh, right. Yeah. I've definitely heard that sound. I just never knew it had, like, a name. But why is this schwa so important, then, if it's, like, so
Right.
subtle?
Because it's the key to like a natural rhythm in English.
Okay.
Mastering the schwa helps you glide over unstressed syllables,
Uh-huh.
which makes your speech, have a more relaxed and fluent feel.
Oh, okay.
It's kind of like a difference between like a bumpy car ride
Okay.
and a smooth, effortless glide down the highway.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not just about pronouncing every single sound perfectly,
Right.
but about understanding how those sounds work together
Exactly.
to create the rhythm of the language. Yeah, I'm starting to see it.
Awesome. And speaking of sounds working together, let's talk about diphthongs.
Diphthongs. Those sound a bit more complicated.
They might sound complicated, but they're really just vowel sounds
Okay.
that glide from one sound to another in the same syllable.
Okay.
So think about the oi sound in boy or the ow in how. You start with one vowel sound,
Right.
and you smoothly transition to another.
Now that you mention it, those sounds do feel like a little vocal journey
Yeah.
within the word. It's like a mini adventure.
Totally. And practicing those diphthongs
Yeah.
is like giving your tongue a workout,
I like it.
makes it more flexible and agile.
This is making me realize how much I've just taken pronunciation for granted.
Yeah.
It's like this whole world of sounds I never even noticed before.
Right.
Yeah.
There really is. And we've only just like scratched the surface.
Right.
We've explored vowels, but now it's time to,
Yeah.
venture into the land of consonants.
Consonants, right. Yeah, those are the sounds that involve blocking airflow in some way.
Right.
But I vaguely remember learning about things like
Yeah.
place of articulation and manner of articulation.
Right.
But honestly, like, it all went over my head.
Don't worry. It can be a little overwhelming at first, but it's actually pretty fascinating when you
Yeah.
break it down.
Okay.
So place of articulation refers to where in your mouth you're constricting the airflow.
Oh, okay.
So think about the P sound. You're bringing your lips together
Uh-huh.
to stop the air. So that's what we call a
I mean,
bilabial consonant.
okay, that makes sense. So for the T sound, you're using your tongue against your teeth.
Right.
So that would be
Exact.
systole, I guess.
You got it.
Okay, cool.
And then manner of articulation describes
Okay.
how you're blocking the air.
All
Are you
right.
completely stopping it, like with the P or T sounds?
Uh-huh.
Or are you just like partially blocking it, like with
Okay.
F or S?
Oh, okay, I see.
Yeah, so it's all about like how much air you're letting escape.
Interesting.
Yeah,
And then there's that whole voicing thing, right?
voicing.
Like the difference between S and Z.
Yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Ah, voicing. It's all about whether your vocal cords are vibrating or
Oh.
not. So try making the S sound
Okay.
and then the Z sound and put your fingers on your throat.
Okay.
Can you feel the difference?
Whoa, yeah. Yeah. My throat is buzzing when I say Z.
Yeah.
But not S. It's like
Hey.
a little B is trapped in there.
Exactly.
Oh.
That buzzing is your vocal cords
Okay.
vibrating. So Z is what we call a voiced consonant.
Okay.
And S is voiceless.
I see. This is so cool, and I never realized how much was going on like behind the scenes of these simple sounds.
And mastering those subtle little distinctions,
Right.
that's what separates like clear pronunciation
Yeah.
from mumbling.
Right.
But of course, some sounds are notorious for being tricky, especially for non-native speakers.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like the sound comes to mind.
The sounds, both the voiced and voiceless versions, can be super challenging because,
Yeah.
you have to put your tongue between your teeth,
Right.
which isn't common in a lot of languages.
You know what's funny? Even though I know the rule,
Yeah.
I still sometimes catch myself substituting other sounds,
Uh-huh.
like S or Z,
Totally.
especially when I'm speaking quickly.
It's a really common mistake. And while those substitutions might be understandable in casual conversation,
Yeah.
it's important to be aware of them, especially in words where the sound is like crucial to understanding what you're saying.
Right.
So
Yeah.
think about thick versus sick,
Yeah.
or thought versus sought.
Oh yeah, big difference.
Mhm.
And then there's the R sound. I've heard that the English R
Oh, the R.
is very different from R in other languages.
The R sound is so fascinating because it varies so much across different dialects of English.
Oh wow.
So some are retroflex, where you curl your tongue back.
Okay.
Others are bunched.
Uh-huh.
Some are trilled or tapped.
So there's no one like right way to say the R?
Not necessarily. It depends on the dialect you're aiming for. But the key is to be aware of those variations
Okay.
and choose the one that feels most natural to you.
Got it.
And one of the best ways to practice these tricky sounds
Right.
is with tongue twisters.
Tongue twisters. I thought those were just for kids.
Oh, no, not at all. Tongue twisters are like a workout for
Really?
your tongue.
Okay.
They build muscle memory and improve your precision.
Okay.
So by repeating these challenging combinations of sounds, you're strengthening those muscles and making it easier to say them accurately and quickly.
So it's like weightlifting for your pronunciation.
Exactly. And they're fun.
Okay.
So how about we try this one? She sells seashells by the seashore.
Okay.
Try saying that 3 times fast.
All right, here goes. She sells seashells by the seashore. She shells.c. She.
Oh my gosh, I can't even get through it once without like tripping over my tongue.
That's the challenge. The more you practice, the easier it gets. There's so many different tongue twisters out there.
Oh, cool.
You know, targeting all sorts of different sound combinations. You can find them online, in books, even in apps these days.
Awesome. I used to think pronunciation was all about just like mastering individual sounds.
Yeah.
But our sources keep emphasizing this idea of like connected speech.
Yes, connected speech. What does that mean exactly?
It basically means that when we're talking naturally, we don't say words in isolation.
Right.
We kind of blend them all together
Oh, okay.
to create the smooth flow.
Oh, so like how we say gonna instead of going to, or like wanna instead of want to.
Exactly. That's called elision, where certain sounds disappear when we're talking quickly.
Oh, okay.
And then there's also linking, where the last consonant of one word
Right.
connects with the first vowel of the next word, like an apple becomes a napple.
Oh, wow. I never realized how much like blending was going on in everyday speech.
It's like a secret code
Yeah.
that native speakers just use
Right.
without even thinking about it.
I like that. And
Yeah.
I guess decoding that code
Yes.
is one of the keys to that more natural and fluent pronunciation, right?
Exactly. It's not just about saying the sounds correctly. It's also about understanding
Yeah.
how those sounds like work together and flow in connected speech.
It's like learning a whole new set of rules, huh? On top of just like the individual sounds.
Right.
It's so fascinating, but also like, how do we put all of this knowledge into practice?
Well, luckily, our sources actually give us some pretty practical tips and techniques
Oh, nice.
to help you, on your pronunciation journey.
Okay.
Think of these as like power-ups
Oh, I like
to
that.
level up your speaking.
Awesome. So what's our first power-up we can unlock?
One of the best is working with minimal pairs.
Okay.
Remember how we talked about phonemes
Yeah?
being the building blocks?
Uh-huh.
Well, minimal pairs are basically words that differ by only one phoneme,
Okay.
like ship and sheep or thin and sin.
Okay, yeah. So by practicing these pairs, you're training your ear, right?
Exactly.
To hear those subtle differences and your tongue to produce them accurately.
Yeah, and you can find lists of minimal pairs online.
Oh, cool.
Or in like pronunciation textbooks. And you can listen to recordings of the pairs,
Okay.
repeat them out loud, even try to write them down as you hear them.
Oh, wow.
The key is to just really focus on that one sound
Right.
that makes those two words different.
So it's like a workout, right?
It is.
For your ears and your tongue.
Totally.
I like it. Speaking of workouts, another technique our sources mention is shadowing.
Oh, yeah. Shadowing.
What is that exactly, and how does that help with pronunciation?
So shadowing is basically like karaoke,
Oh,
but for spoken English. You listen to a native speaker,
okay.
and then you try to repeat what they're saying.
Right.
And you want to try to match their pronunciation, their rhythm, even their intonation.
So it's not just repeating the words, but like mimicking their style.
Exactly. And the cool thing about shadowing is you can do it with any kind of audio. Podcasts, audiobooks, movies, even YouTube videos.
That's awesome. So I can practice my pronunciation while catching up on my favorite shows.
Exactly. Two birds, one stone.
I love that.
And the more you do it, the more you start to like absorb those natural patterns of how English is spoken.
Like osmosis for your pronunciation.
Exactly.
Nice. I'm definitely going to try that. That sounds really fun and engaging.
It is.
Yeah. And for those of us who prefer a quieter approach, our sources also recommend reading aloud.
Oh, yeah. Reading aloud is a classic for a reason. It lets you slow down,
Uh-huh.
focus on each word, think about things like stress and intonation and connected speech.
Right.
You can even record yourselves while you're doing it
Okay.
and listen back later to see,
Yeah.
where you can improve.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm gonna try that. Would you say it's helpful to work with a tutor
Oh, for sure.
or a language partner to like really refine pronunciation?
Absolutely. Having someone who can give you like personalized feedback
Yeah.
can make a huge difference. A good tutor can help you figure out
Right.
what your weaknesses are and give you some exercises
Okay.
to work on those things specifically.
So it's like having a personal trainer
Exactly.
for your pronunciation.
Yeah.
I love it. I guess the key, whether you're working with a tutor or not, is just to like keep practicing, right?
Mhm.
And like immersing yourself in the language as much as possible.
Yes, 100%. Listen to music, watch movies in English, try to just surround yourself with the sounds of the language. The more you hear it,
Right.
the more natural it will start to feel.
So it's not just about those isolated practice sessions, but actually making English a part of like your everyday life.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. That makes sense.
And remember, perfect pronunciation is like a journey. It's not a destination.
Okay.
Even native speakers are like always working on it,
Yeah, that's true.
refining how they speak and adapting to new situations.
So it's not about erasing your accent or anything like that,
No, not at all.
but more about just embracing your unique voice
Yeah,
while still aiming for clear communication.
I love that. It's about that balance between authenticity and clarity.
Right. And the more we practice, the more confident we become.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, we've covered so much in this deep dive,
We have.
from the tiniest phonemes
Mhm.
to that intricate dance of connected speech.
Amazing, right?
We've explored the world of English pronunciation, learned some really cool techniques
Yeah.
to, level up our speaking.
Power-ups.
I like that. I love it. And to everyone listening, remember, pronunciation is a journey, not a destination.
Mhm.
Embrace the challenge. Have fun experimenting. And most importantly, never stop exploring, right?
Yes.
The power of your voice.
Until next time.